I want to look beyond some of those first-round talent picks there with some of the guys that can maybe make an impact in the later rounds, started with tight end Trey Mcbride from Colorado State, now an Arizona Cardinal for you.
Yeah, Brandon, he's going to have a chance to contribute right away. Dre Hopkins has been suspended 6 games. Christian Kirk is now in Jacksonville on that big money deal. Yes, the Arizona Cardinals traded for Hollywood Brown, but Trey Mcbride gives him that presence in the middle of the field. He was my tight end 1 coming into the draft. He remained that way. I thought he would go in the second round. He ended up going in the second round, and I think he has a chance to help out Kyler Murray, assuming Kyler Murray shows up for work, because we know Kyler Murray currently isn't happy with the state of his contract. Hopefully that changes, because they're going to need Kyler Murray in that division, and I think Trey Mcbride in the middle of that offense, he's going to run the seam routes. He's extremely physical. He's not a Travis Kelce type athlete, but he is good enough, and he is also a really good blocker, which helps in the run game, and that includes, of course, Kyler Murray's ability to use his legs. So I love the idea of Trey Mcbride here, helping that offense, helping Kyler Murray. Now the Cardinals just have to pay Kyler Murray to get him back to work.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the money bag at this point, but he will be a target there in Arizona. Meanwhile, the Bears, they have high hopes for third-round receiver Velus Jones Jr. He might be a key target for Justin Fields in year 1 there in Chicago.
Yeah, he better be, because Justin Fields certainly didn't get a lot of help with the rest of that draft. And look, to Ryan Poles' credit, they did a good job in the draft if you want them to fix the defense. Unfortunately, you play in a division with Aaron Rodgers, an upstart Lions team, and we know that the Vikings should be pretty good with Kirk Cousins there. But Velus Jones had a fantastic Senior Bowl. The issue is he's 25 years old, but he's still fast. He ran in the 4.2s, 4.3s, and he offers something in the return game. Allen Robinson has departed. So who do you have if you're Justin Fields? You have Darnell Mooney. You have Equanimeous St. Brown. They just signed Dante Pettis. They have Byron Pray. Let me know when you get excited about these names. Velus Jones offers something in terms of that excitement. He's explosive. He plays bigger than he looks. He's about 200 pounds. He doesn't look it because he's in such good shape. But I mentioned the 4.2 speed and the return ability gives the Bears one more option as a pass catcher for Justin Fields, who I think was hoping for more in terms of the way of receivers that didn't quite come in the draft. But Velus Jones could be a really good football player.
All right, Jones has a chance to crack that roster and also maybe be a 1 or 2 option there for Fields, as you mentioned. How about Washington landing Sam Howell late? A guy we were kind of high on before last year in the college football, has a chance to be QB1 of the future. We know Carson Wentz is there, but what is his perspectives there with the Commanders?
Well, if you want to take the glass half empty approach, if you're not Sam Howell, is that, well, Carson Wentz probably isn't going to work out there. He didn't work out in Indianapolis when he was reunited with Frank Reich. I don't know if that's going to magically fix itself in a new location without his quarterback coach, quote unquote. But I love Sam Howell. Here's the thing. The first game of the season last year against Virginia Tech, he was terrible. I went back and watched 3 or 4 more games, and he carried that football team, which was without 2 of the wide receivers and 2 running backs that went to the NFL. The NFL thought differently, of course. He lasted until round 5. I think that shocked everyone. So, again, the good news for all these quarterbacks not named Kenny Pickett, you come into a situation where there's now not the pressure to start as a first-round pick. You have Carson Wentz, as I mentioned. I don't think he's going to fix things. You have Taylor Heineke there. There's a reason they went out and got Carson Wentz. They didn't love Taylor Heineke. So I think Sam Howell's perfectly positioned to play some football and probably play some football this year. If you told me he started Brandon week 10, I would believe it. Now he has to take advantage of that opportunity, but like I said, no pressure. He can go in there, sling it around, and hopefully make something of it.
Ryan, the one thing we were talking about, of course, last season for him at UNC, he had a lot of talent around him that wasn't there. The injuries stacked up for the Tar Heels. But you look at Washington's roster, they have pass catchers. Their running game, we saw that, how effective that was last year. Now, with Sam Howell, maybe, of course, as you mentioned, possibly starting later into the season, could he be kind of the player we thought he was going to be before the draft, of course?
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's the thing you saw. Daz Newsome left. De'Ami Brown left. De'Ami Brown's now his teammate in Washington. Michael Carter and Javonte Williams were the running backs who are now in the NFL as well. Without those guys, Sam Howell felt like he had to do everything. And I was talking to a team last fall that said, I wish he had gone back to school because you can't play that way and be successful long term. But to your point, Braden, now that the pieces are sort of around him, and by the way, Carson Wentz has the same lack of excuse, too, because of those pieces around him. But if Sam Howell gets that opportunity, play within yourself. Get rid of the ball when you need to. Don't try to play hero ball and win. Score a touchdown every time you break the pocket. There's a chance for success there. But like I said, there's a reason he went in the 5th round. NFL teams were turned off by his tape last year, the year before, as you mentioned, coming into this, saying he was pretty good with all those players.
He has weapons there. Terry McLaurin, we know about him, and then also Jahan Dotson from Penn State. Washington going with him in the first round there. All right, Cleveland, the Browns kind of went depth here with the Jerome 4 in the later rounds, but they already have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We've seen when both of those two are healthy, they can run with anybody. Where does he kind of fit? And maybe this three-headed monster pitcher here with the Browns.
Yeah, so there was some conversation that Kareem Hunt might be moved at some point. Maybe at the top of the to-do list is Baker Mayfield, which makes some sense. We'll have to see what happens with the quarterback who's been replaced by Deshaun Watson and even Jacoby Brissett, if you want to throw him in there. So if Kareem Hunt isn't there, then Jerome Ford, that pick makes much more sense. But they got Demetric Felton last year, who's sort of this versatile running back, wide receiver combo. They had Ernest Johnson, who filled in when both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were there and did a fantastic job. But I think you get one more element in Jerome Ford, who's an Alabama transfer. He's an absolute burner. He can obviously turn the corner on you outside, but he can also help in the pass game. And it's just a matter of sorting out the carries, number one, and figuring out if all these guys are going to be on the roster, number two. Like I said, there's been some rumblings that maybe Kareem Hunt is elsewhere. We'll have to wait and see. But I love the Jerome Ford pick on day 3 because it adds one more element to an offense that already looks pretty good.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.